Okay, America, listen. We got another situation that's going on in this country, and it's starting to get to the point where some things just need to be fucking addressed, period. This is how this shit is. Now, I'm not going to mention the state and what just recently happened with a shooting of an individual, because I don't know all the particulars on how it happened, other than the fact that a person accidentally pulled out a gun as opposed to a taser. Now, how you don't know the difference between the two, I'm pretty sure it's arguable in court. It is a matter of conjecture when it comes down to there might be officers that have actually reached for their gun and realized that they wasn't reaching for their taser. I don't know what type of defenses they're going to come up with this shit, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a drag out situation on that issue, topic, incident, horrific incident. Now, America, it took you to watch a previous drug user to lose his life on national TV, crying out for his mother before he died. It took America, it took Asian America, it took transgenders, homosexuals, gays, lesbians, whichever name, however they want to describe themselves, to take to the streets, working class people, grandmothers, grandfathers, elderly, to scream out enough was enough with the chanting of the word Black Lives Matter. Now, in spite of the fact Black Lives Matter is being a questionable thing right now, because it has evolved into something else where things evolve and become profitable, you're going to have questionable decisions that's being made by those who orchestrate the organization. That's pretty typical. However, that does not give an excuse to exclude out the fact that when these words were being chanted by Americans in the streets, whites, blacks, greens, blues, people around the world, it wasn't a chant for a rebuttal. All lives matter, blue lives matter, Cracker Barrel matter, I don't know. People just saying all kinds of shit in response to hearing Black Lives Matter. It took this man to lose his life on national TV that was filmed by a phone, of course. In America, you somehow found a rebuttal. All lives matter. You argued it. Stand on the other side of the street. All lives matter. Giving us the finger and shit. Like, damn, dude. We didn't say all lives matter. We just trying to remind the people that make the laws, the people that make the rules and regulations, the people that come up with the bills to write for these laws to be implemented on the American people. It's just basically someone sitting in the room saying, oh, don't forget Black Lives Matter too with these bills that we're doing. Yeah, whatever. That's basically how we feel. It ain't that we gloat in the killing of a white man in a hotel room with his wife. We're not happy about that. But unfortunately, we so engulfed with the shit that is going on with us. It's not like we don't care or we don't have a voice for it. It's just sometimes things just engulf you to a point where there's so many other issues, but right now I am a fucking target. Yeah. So when you hear these things in this country and it continues to go on and on and on, when is enough is enough? When is enough is enough? When is enough is enough? Do we need another situation like Trayvon Martin? Which was a horrific, horrible thing. I don't know if lawyers or doctors or senators and governors and mayors realizes that charges were just somehow not applied properly like they do on African Americans. You get caught with drugs, you can get aiding and abetting, conspiracy, and attempt to distribute. You're going to have all these charges. And one of these charges is going to stick. Maurice Claret, Ohio State University, great football player, had some issues, went to jail. Strong arm robbery, yeah, and kidnapping. Well, he detained the person. Anytime you detain someone from leaving the proximity that you and he or she are in by some form of force or even by verbal, you charge with kidnapping. So somewhere in between, that ball got dropped down there in Florida, because somewhere in between, when the boy tried to get away, this man kidnapped him by shooting him in his back because he wouldn't let him leave the proximity when there was an issue between him and him. They didn't charge him for that. They didn't charge him for child abuse. Yeah, you can charge him for child abuse. Well, he testified that he knew that he was a minor, and he hung with some kids, and they were a nuisance, according to him, in the community. So you knew he was a minor. So you abused a minor by using a weapon. Could have charged him with that. You do it to me. Yeah, you do it to me. Oh, not a problem. Not a problem at all. You trust me. You would do that to me. And for you to not really understand why we feel the way that we feel when we say in general, which we shouldn't, but we're so upset and hurt, it just seems like all police, all white folks are bad, but it's not. We're not saying that. We're just angry, where it's like you white people, and I know we are offending people like Serena Williams that is involved or married, I should say, outside of our race, and to all those who are in interracial relationships. There is an offending in that household by us when we say all white folks don't give a fuck about us, this. It just seems to fit the narrative, because it seems like everywhere we go, we run into those bad apples of European race that speaks the volume for all of y'all. It's no different than when you walk down the street and you see me and you grab your pocketbook. All blacks ain't gonna take your pocketbook. All blacks aren't gonna rob you. All blacks aren't gonna rape you. All blacks ain't gonna break in your car. But it's the narrative that we keep getting fed. When is enough for us to realize that we are not going to survive in a community, in a country, where there is so much strife amongst this thing of a fucking color. We're not going to be able to progress as a nation or as people, not a race, but as people, because wherever there's people, there's different nationalities and different races. That's all over the world. But if you can't coincide with each other, coexist with each other, and there's always an issue, and then there's always the law that sides with the atrocity that goes with the minority. You can't go anywhere. You can't progress like that. You just can't. And when we find a way to be able to say, you know what, I don't like black folks, but we got to respect them. Hell, now we got laws to respect transgenders, even though that's a hard pill to swallow. And you still have those homophobics, don't get me wrong. And then you still have those in our community and in the other community as well, European, whites, Americans, whichever one you want to call it, white America. You still have some frown on interracial marriages. But those numbers have gotten small, but they need to be diminished quickly, along with the lopsidedness of the judicial system. And we got African Americans in there. We got minorities in there. That's your people of color. And we still are having an issue. And people of color, you need to make a stand like white Americans, Asian Americans, German Americans, Italian Americans, every nationality that walked in the streets of George Floyd and basically put it on the table. Black Lives Matter. It's time for people of color in our judicial, our Congress, to walk out. Make your stand. And white Americans in Congress, legislator, walk out. Enough's enough. Something needs to be done. Walk out. Take a stand. Because we, the American people, the civilians, the grandmothers, the drug users, the alcoholics, the what you thought to be the dead of the world had came out and band together for this horrific scene we had to look at. And y'all still presiding in the courts, and y'all still writing bills. Y'all still think we need to figure out how we're going to make NASA have a better landing on Mars, or China getting a better dictator. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. Dismiss all that. And find out how to fix the problem. You trying to fix things with a million things going on because you think that's the only way things can get fixed. We can't just stop working on the fuck if you can. Because it's only going to take a day. And after that day, then you come up with these laws that when this continues of what happens yesterday and you bring it in today when we stopped it yesterday, there's going to be consequences. That stops that. It puts an end to it. It's the beginning of an end. But you won't, it's too much, well, you're going to violate the Constitution. People don't need a constitution to know that they're fucking human. You don't need a piece of paper to tell people how to be morally correct towards people. So you don't need to spend all this time trying to figure out how to make these amendments to this shit. You just fucking do it. Period. Like Nike say, just fucking do it. That's why they did the Kaepernick. Just do it. That's all it is. Just fucking do it. Period. And then that way we don't have this strife that we have in this country. Because I'm tired of folks just automatically assuming I'm a Democrat. Oh, you're a Democrat. Why? Because I'm a black guy. But I don't say that's racist. It's the narrative. I'm not a Democrat nor a Republican. I am what basically you call an independent, which we once were in the beginning. I'm just a person that just wants leave moral conduct to the people and not make laws that say that you're going to enforce it, but yet you utilize that law that you say that you have the morals for people, but you use it only for one certain people, and the other people, well, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. We got an officer sitting doing 10 years because he accidentally shot a woman. There was a European woman. It didn't take long to do that. But look how long it takes for when you kill me, for my family and friends to get some form of justice because of these claws that you have. You're ridiculous, judicial system. Congress, you're ridiculous as well. Actually, you're pathetic. You are. But you try to hide behind, I'm going to do a good thing here, but I'm going to let the rest of this shit go on. And you are aware of your constituents that you sit in this house. You know who they are. You can't have a law in Ohio and a different law in California. And a different law in Florida, different law in New York. And then when they're violated, it gets to the federal statute. And then the federal statute, they conjecture on what the fuck they gonna do. And that's where we're at as a people. Bill Cosby, it's a sad thing. Because when I remember back in the 90s, Anita Hill laid everything out on the table in front of Congress and in front of the national television about Clarence Thomas. It's her word against his. See the difference? Bill Cosby said one thing, she said another. He said he didn't. She said he did. He get convicted. Mike Tyson, he gets approached in his room. Woman in a, I don't know, in her panties and her bra with a long coat on. Somehow now Mike raped her. It's his word. He say he didn't. She said he did. He get convicted. Clarence Thomas, the man that now is presiding over the law of the land, had a woman say what this motherfucker did. And he's still the Supreme Court Justice. Now we have another football player that is under accusation. I don't know if they're true or not, but now you have over 22 women saying that this is what he's done. I guess we just have to wait for the outcome of that. But America, do you see the difference here? You can't just keep ignoring because you don't want to disrupt your livelihood or your lifestyle or your day with just worrying about. Let them handle their own selves. You don't say that when it comes time for us to go over there to the Persian Gulf or Afghanistan. You don't say that when we ran into those buildings in New York on 9/11. You didn't say that. You didn't say that. So it's just another moment in my mind of what we got going on in this country. People are getting tired. People are getting tired. I'm out.